Have you ever been the one who cared for everyone, but quietly forgot to care for yourself? Have you ever been the person who always showed up, always helped, always gave, when you finally needed someone, no one came? This is the story of a kind man who gave love freely to everyone around him, but forgot to give that same love to his own heart. And when his strength finally ran out, he learned the most important lesson of his life. Once upon a time, in a small and peaceful village surrounded by green fields and tall trees, lived a man named Rashid. Rashid was not rich, and he was not famous, but he was known by everyone. People said he had the warmest heart in the whole village. If a farmer lost his goat, Rashid helped search until it was found. If a roof broke during the rains, Rashid climbed up and repaired it. If someone was hungry, he shared his meal, even when his own plate was almost empty. The villagers often smiled and said, "Rashid is the strength of this village." But what no one noticed was how tired he was inside. Every morning, before eating his own breakfast, Rashid carried water to an elderly widow named Salma, who lived at the edge of the village. Then he helped his neighbor repair a fence or lift heavy tools. After that, he worked in the fields under the burning sun until evening. His days were full, but his heart was slowly growing empty. When Rashid returned home each night, his small house greeted him with silence. The roof had cracks, the walls needed care, dust covered the floor. He would look around, sigh gently, and whisper, "I will fix it tomorrow." But tomorrow never arrived. There was always someone else who needed him first. One evening, just as the sky began to darken, a young boy came running through the village, his voice shaking with fear. He cried out that his father's ox had fallen into a deep pit near the fields. Without stopping to think, Rashid rushed after him. He pulled and pushed with all his strength until the animal was finally safe. The villagers cheered and praised him once again. Rashid smiled weakly and began walking home alone. Halfway there, his steps slowed. His legs felt heavy. His chest felt tight. By the time he reached his door, the world spun around him. He collapsed onto the ground, unseen and unheard. For several days, Rashid lay weak inside his small house. His body ached, and his strength was gone. He waited, listening for footsteps. He thought perhaps Salma would come, or maybe a neighbor would knock on his door. But no one came. Everyone assumed Rashid was busy helping someone else, just as he always did. As he stared at the broken roof above him, tears filled his eyes. In a soft, tired voice, he whispered, "I gave everything I had to others, but now I am alone." His words echoed in the empty room. On the third morning, a traveling monk entered the village. He walked slowly, observing the people and their homes. When he passed Rashid's house, he noticed the door slightly open and the man lying weak inside. The monk knelt beside him, offered him water, and waited patiently. When Rashid opened his eyes, the monk asked gently, "My son, why do you lie here alone?" Rashid managed a small smile and replied, "Because I was too busy caring for everyone else. I forgot to care for myself." The monk nodded with kindness and said, "You cannot light other lamps if your own flame has faded." Those words settled deeply in Rashid's heart. The monk stayed a while longer and spoke softly. He said, "Love is meant to be shared, but it must begin within you. You cannot pour water for others if your own cup is empty." Rashid listened in silence. For the first time, he understood that his kindness had come at a cost he never noticed. The next morning, Rashid stood up slowly. His body was still weak, but his thoughts felt clear. He began by cleaning his house. He repaired the broken roof. He swept the dust from the floor. Outside his door, he planted small flowers. In the evenings, instead of rushing to help, he sat near the river and watched the sunset. It was something he had never allowed himself to enjoy before. Soon, the villagers began to whisper. They noticed Rashid was different. He did not run to every call. He did not say yes to every request. When someone asked for help, he sometimes replied, "Let me finish my work first, then I will come." At first, people were confused, but over time, they saw the change. Rashid's face looked brighter. His steps were stronger. His kindness remained, but it was no longer draining him. One evening, Salma visited him and smiled warmly. She said, "You have taught us something important. We thought love meant giving until nothing was left. Now we see that caring for ourselves matters too." Rashid smiled and replied, "When you honor yourself, your love becomes whole." Slowly, the village changed. People began helping one another, but they also rested. They cared for their homes, their health, and their hearts. Life felt calmer, kinder, and more balanced. One quiet evening, Rashid sat by the river as the golden light reflected on the water. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Loving yourself first is not selfish." He finally understood that strength grows when care flows both inward and outward. Take a moment each day to rest. Take time to heal. Take time to honor yourself, because an empty heart cannot give real love. Loving yourself first is real strength. If this story touched you, gently like, share, and subscribe for more stories that bring calm and clarity.